Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Taurus, Moon, Rising, Sun, and Stelliums. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And I'm here today to talk about September's astrological forecast for Taurus. Now, as an intuitive astrologer and as a person who studies a variety of spiritual dynamics, I absolutely believe that our emotional body is the platform with which we manifest. So if we are feeling under the weather, if we're feeling unsure, if we're angry or frustrated, we are not manifesting at our highest degree. So I believe the moon is the most important thing to look at. The second thing I think that is most important to look at is your rising sign, as it is the perception. It's how you view the world. If you see the world the cup half full or the cup half empty, will be very much reflected in your rising sign. Then I think looking at the sun is how we project ourselves out into the world and the impression that we leave on others. And then there's a stellium. A stellium is something where you have 3 or more planets, and primarily personal planets. That would be Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn. I could say Jupiter. Not Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. I'm looking more at the inner, the planets that move more quickly. If you have 3 or more of those planets in one sign or house, this is a very strong influence on your life path and the intention your soul set for this incarnation. So for my Tauruses, where I'm going to start is on September 3rd, when Mars is going to go into its pre-shadow retrograde period. This is going to this is happening in the sign of Gemini, which for Taurus is your second house. The second house rules our skills, our voice, our family history. It's a house of money and where we use our skills to make money. So we're going to see Mars at 8 degrees Gemini, starting its pre-shadow period before it actually goes retrograde on the 30th of October. And when it goes retrograde, it's going to go retrograde at 25 degrees Gemini, and then it's going to retrograde all the way back to 8 degrees Gemini before it starts its forward motion again. And this is going to be a very long period of time because it isn't going to go direct until January 12th, 2023. And then there's going to be the post-retrograde shadow period that will last up until the middle of March. Gemini rules our everyday activities. It rules our emails, our internet. It rules our, checking your internet, your emails, the everyday conversations with your workmates, your teammates, your schoolmates. It rules our siblings. It rules cousins. It rules what we think, what we speak, what we write, what we teach, the media in general, what we absorb ourselves with. Gemini in and of itself is a more persuasive side of Mercury, whereas when Mercury is in Virgo, it's more of a process-oriented, analytical dynamic with Mercury. Now we have Taurus. Gemini is your second house. So there's going to be something about how you're using your skills, how you're interacting with others, and Mars is going to be how you assert yourself. Mars by nature is considered a more challenging planet. It's considered the god of war, blunt, a little rude. To be honest with you, I'm an Aries rising, so I'm Mars ruled, but Mars is also the hero. Mars is the fireman that runs into the fire to save you. Mars is the pioneer who breaks new ground. Mars is the one that goes into unknown territory and paves a way for others to join. So here, I think it's important for Taurus in general to be very mindful of not only how you're communicating with others, but the nature of how you're communicating. Both Gemini and Mars move quickly, meaning Gemini rules a planet that rules our everyday activities, running to Costco, running to the pharmacy, running to pick the kids up from school, running to wherever we're going. So together, I feel like there's going to be a real retrospective review, reflective period of how am I asserting myself and how am I a landing on other people. Taurus is naturally a fixed sign. Right now you have Uranus transiting your house, which has been bringing revolution and unexpected changes, changes that have been working in the wings and now are coming to fruition. We're also going to see Mars making this dynamic to, well, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me put it this way. What I want to say is having Mars in Gemini in the second house, there's going to be a lot of rapid thought, a lot of potential review of your history with your siblings, history with your teammates, histories with your school age years, if you're well past them. And I think this is an opportunity to reflect and then incorporate a dynamic where you're more aware of how your energy is landing on other people and why Mars is so powerful a leader. Because really, Mars is the one you follow into war. The kings are sitting in their castle strategizing the lands they're going to take over. It's Mars that goes into the action. So here, I think Taurus is going to get an opportunity to be more mutable or flexible in how they're thinking, if their thoughts are actually leading them down a path they want to go, or is it in some ways taking you down an old story that's repeating a history that you don't want to live anymore. I think at the end of this retrograde period that Taurus is going to have a real I think it's an epiphany, because we also have the North Node traversing your sign, and Uranus is a liberating energy. So as you use this dynamic to really dig deep, is how do I communicate with others? Am I listening in a way that makes others feel heard, so that when I use my voice, second house, people are listening to me rather than just kind of throwing me into this box of who they have experienced up until now. So I think this is a super powerful energy. Again, this is going to be in your second house. This is going to influence your money. It's going to influence your possessions, the things that you find comforting. You could even find yourself in some ways having a different sense of an appetite for things. You may even like more spicy food for some reason. I kind of just got this flash of red hot Cheetos or something. I could see the Gemini energy of air pushing the fire element, maybe liking more Mexican food, spicy food, trying new foods. There's that possibility as well. On September 5th, Venus will enter Virgo, which is your fifth house of romance. The fifth house naturally rules hobbies and entertainment, where we find pleasure and an escape through activities and doing something that makes us feel vital and alive. The fifth house is naturally ruled by Leo. It also rules children, the conception of children. So as Venus enters Virgo, I think that Taurus may start to really think about, how am I taking care of myself? How am I nurturing my romances? How am I nurturing my fun time? How am I taking care of the things that bring me peace of mind? Because Venus is your ruling planet. And while Virgo is not, the sign in which she is the most at home, she is the most practical here, which for Taurus can be very comforting. Taurus is also an earth sign, so there's a certain amount of complement coming here. So I think there's going to be a real, for the whole month of September, I think there will be a focus on the potential for new romance and how you nurture yourself when you are in a situation where you are receiving much joy. I do think there's the potential for that. On the 9th of September, we have Mercury going retrograde at 8 degrees Libra. Now, this kind of hit me because that took me back to the idea that Mars is starting its shadow period at 8 degrees Gemini. The 8th degree is a Scorpio degree, which is transformational, an opportunity to rise like the phoenix from whatever has been burned to the ground. So for Taurus, this is going to start in your 6th house of work. Then it's going to move into your 5th house of romance. And then as the retrograde ends, it'll move back into your 6th house. So I think that this is an opportunity for you to really start looking at, am I making money in a way that brings me satisfaction? Am I taking care of my obligations? The 6th house not only rules our health, it rules our what we feel enslaved to. You know, our employment these days is modern day slavery. We're basically selling our lives for a chunk of money. So I think there'll be an opportunity for you to really reflect on how you have been. Have you been staying somewhere because you're used to it and it feels safe? Are you willing to open up your mind and see if there are opportunities for you to shift the way you're thinking, Mercury, at the 8th degree, Scorpio, giving you an opportunity to reflect and reevaluate if the thought processes with which you are starting your actions on are really aligned to where you want to go or where you've been. Taurus naturally rules the 2nd house. And while we're talking about Mercury going retrograde in your 5th and 6th house, it can trigger historic memories of what you think is expected of you in romance, in the way of parenting, in the way of your own personal enjoyment, and in the way of where you prioritize your mental and emotional health in addition to your physical health. So I think that this is going to be super important. I feel like with Mars going into Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, having this Mercury retrograde starting in Libra and then moving back into Virgo, there's this mercurial dynamic. Am I in harmony with my mind? And then having Venus going into Virgo is making me think, am I making myself a priority as much as I may be making my obligations and other parts of my life a priority? There will be a new moon and a full moon video that I'll do separately for September. So I'm going to move right on into the sun moving into Libra on the 22nd. And then as Mercury retrogrades on the 23rd back into Virgo, within a few days, we're going to start to see it make aspects to Neptune. We're going to see on the 29th, Mercury is going to make an opposition to retrograding Neptune in Pisces within 1 degree. Neptune will be at 23 degrees and Mercury will be at 24 degrees. The 23rd degree is the Aquarian degree. There's this opportunity for liberation from the 24th degree, what I feel addicted to. I want to put it that way. Virgo, 24th degree, Neptune. There could be, if you have any substance issues, if you're over comforting through spirits or through food or through overindulgence in any way. It could be even chocolate, because at the same time, Mercury is going to be making a trine to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn at 26 degrees. So Mercury has an opportunity to really illuminate a way of thinking that has been not serving Taurus, that has been, in some ways, Taurus is a very loyal person. And, we're talking about your 5th house of love when we're talking about where Venus is going. When we're talking about Mars retrograding, we're looking at your 5th and 6th and 5th house. So there's a lot of going on about your own personal pleasure, your own sense of creation and self-expression, and what you are obligated to. And I feel like as Venus, on the same day that Mercury is making the trine to Pluto and the opposition to Neptune, Venus will move into Libra. Venus is your natural ruler. So I think the month of September is very pivotal for Taurus to review a history that may get to be just that, a history. And I kind of want to offer it this way, because in the review, if Taurus somehow feels like there have been too many dark spots, too many challenging energies, I want to offer that the dark spots are what make the color pop, and that whether the soul recognizes it when it's in the human form, it is through the tenacity of walking through our challenges. It is through the endurance of pursuing our dreams and our sense of fulfillment that we feel that true exhilaration. When things come too easily to a human, they tend to brush it off, and then they heat-seek like a missile, heat-seeking missile, to wherever the hole is in their life, wherever something is not sitting up to a standard. that Taurus has assigned to it. So here's an opportunity to really integrate all of these moments to empower yourself to move past your history, and then use this enduring bullish energy to focus in on what it is that you want to experience, and to focus in on what it would feel like when these situations have come into play, when the solutions have presented themselves. And a final note, I want to say this too. Being an earth sign and a fixed earth sign, Taurus will tend to think it has to plow the fields every day in order to make something happen. To quote Esther Hicks and Abraham, when you plant a seed of corn, you don't expect the stalk to grow overnight. So there is a process, and we see that process really come into play when Mercury goes back into Virgo for you. I think the process will be illuminated at that point, so that you can really take advantage of the opposition, remove any illusions where you've given your power away, or you've hoped that somebody would recognize you, and their continual lack of recognition has become obvious and apparent. And it gives you an opportunity to shift into a new energy. So that's the general dynamic for September 2022 for Taurus. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, empowerment coach, and angel therapy practitioner. I hope you will join me on Sunday mornings live at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where I do weekly angel readings for traversing the transits during the week. And as I said a little bit earlier in the video, I will be doing separate full moon and new moon videos specifically designed for you. All right, I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, Taurus. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and hit the bell so you'll know when new stuff comes out.